So guys, I've been living in Thailand. Got here September 15th. So we've been here for 4 months. We're now in month 5. And we found a place here in Thailand. And we're in a 2025 newly construction built home. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath villa. The bathrooms have the water heaters in it. But the bathrooms have the water heaters in it, shower. You know, everything's running, right? It's like new, pretty, above average ceilings, taller ceilings. It's 1 floor. I don't think it's bigger than about 110, 120 square meters. Thailand and a lot of countries outside of the U.S. Goes by square meters in definition of size. So, so I don't think it's bigger than about 1,200 to 1,300 square feet. So you saw it's a little yard. It's paved all around, comes with a washer, all the appliances. It comes furnished, right? So many of you guys who don't know, a lot of these properties out here, I would tend to say most, although I haven't seen most properties. They do come furnished. They do come at least mostly furnished, and there's always negotiations to take something out, add something in, depending on the price and depending on your duration. So we negotiated a long-term lease. For now, we're on the year lease, right? Pending nothing changes. Did a year lease for 23,000 baht. Sorry, it's not great light over here. We did a year lease for about 23,000 baht. And guys, if you know, or if you don't know that, obviously, conversion on currency changes roughly every hour. Like, I've been tracking the Thailand conversion specifically, of course, because I'm here, on the US dollar over the last day or two. And I haven't been tracking every hour because I'm not just staring at my phone every hour, or at least on that app every hour. But it fluctuates multiple times a day. So although the rent stays the same, obviously within the lease, what we would pay month to month can differ a couple dollars. However, at this time of the recording, I pay $720 a month for rent. $720 a month for rent. That's the current conversion. I won't compare the living situation I had in my last home in Florida. It was a bigger home. We were only there for 3 months. It was new construction, obviously mortgaged out. And it was on the more expensive side, right? But we were paying for a mortgage, it's $3,700 for primary resident payment, $3,700 for a mortgage. So I'll compare how we're living here. This home that we're in, this villa that we're in here, is synonymous to the smaller place that we have in Florida as well. So our first house is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's a little bit bigger than this outside of the garage. So you can put a garage here, but it has the carport, right? So essentially the lot of property is about the same size. So minus a bedroom, obviously some closet space, comparably to our house, we're paying a shit ton less. So our mortgage, even on the lower side, we bought in 2021, our mortgage there is around $1,800. So we're still paying less than half here for almost the same size. Just perspective, guys. And this is a renting situation. We bought that. So if I was to stay there, right? We stayed in, like, obviously not if we were to stay there, but staying there, overhead, right? So mortgage, internet, utilities, water, electric, sewer, trash. There's HOA. Like, if you add that stuff, right? Lawn or maintenance, monthly overhead floats around $2,400. And that's a modest living, pretty modest, especially when purchasing a home in Florida within the United States. FYI, modest, $2,300 to $2,400 in overhead. Since our rent is floating around $720, hey, it bubbles at $730. Like I think last week, the USD conversion, we already obviously paid our rent, but it went as high as $745. Today it was like $721, $720, and then it's coming back up. So if you throw in the same thing, well, maintenance is included. People come to the house once a week. They came yesterday, clean up the little green space. It's not a lot of yard, but they clean that up. And you got water, obviously, internet, electric, same utilities. For those you don't know, there's water, electric, internet here in Thailand. It's not just the US, I promise you. Right? Maintenance, right? The same stuff you pay in America, right? Our overhead is floating around $825 to $850. So not from my last, not the more expensive home. Like, if you're talking about an average cost of living and overhead for a 3 to 4 bedroom home in the States, and I'm talking about Florida, right? You're paying anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 in overhead, as long as you got a decent mortgage. Today, for the same house that I got, if you're trying to buy it with the interest rates where they're at, taxes is of course increasing, right? The mortgage alone is around $3,000, $3,200 for the interest rate. Maybe $2,800 if you're able to buy down points, or if someone's able to, like, if you're able to assume, a lowest interest rate from, the whole COVID skewing of the housing economy. Like, if you're able to get the interest rate lower and stuff like that, you're still paying around $2,800 for a mortgage for the type of home, for a 3-4 bedroom home, newer condition, right? Efficiency built home, stuff like that. So we've lowered our cost of living tremendously. Cost of living too, but I really want to I'm just talking about overhead. I'm just talking about rent, shelter, utilities, right? Went from about $2,500 to a little under $850 a month. So what does that do for us? What does that do for me? What does that do for my wife? It allows us not to both have to work full time. In the States, especially in the next home that we bought, we had to make sure we were making $10, $12, $13, $14,000 a month. We had to. It was a must. Here, much lower. Much lower. Much lower. So we have the day to control. We have the time now to control the day. Right? We don't have to work as much and or as hard, because we don't have to make as much to do that. So just FYI, I mean, even if it's 2026, and yes, I can't imagine getting the same villa we got or something even better, bigger comparably, if we would have left the US 2, 3, 4 years ago, right when COVID was kind of peaking to slowing down. If we would have came out here 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? Well, I would say 3 to 4 years ago, that same place we would have gotten for $400 to $500 US dollars, right? So everything's about time and opportunity. I'm glad we came when we came, but everything is time and opportunity. So It's possible, guys. And imagine if you're coming out here single. You can get you a villa paying, like, there's a lot of people in the States who live single, or they're in a relationship, or they're married and they don't have kids yet, right? And whether they bought a house or they're living in an apartment, whatever you want to call it, rent, mortgage, their overhead, right, is insanity, right? I, along with a lot of other people, are paying a poor man's overhead, right? If rent is $720, utilities is around $80 to $100. I mean, that's like a studio somewhere in West Virginia in America, you know? So opportunity, timing, and just leaving the States can ultimately change the trajectory of where you're trying to go with your life, not just with finances. I just want you guys to be aware of that. This is real. This is on paper. $720 for rent. One of the cheapest places we will ever live anywhere in the world. One of, for what we're getting comparably. There's places all over Thailand. Places in Bangkok, Chiang Mai, more south of here, that you could get more of what we have for the same, right? And you can get less of what we have for way less. You could be in a condo, a 1 or 2 bedroom condo, and pay half of what we have with all amenities. So it's real. It's real. Let me know who you guys know is paying $720 a month for rent anywhere in the States. Anywhere. It's insane. That's why we had to do it.